Hi everyone, today I just want to do a short little video with a guide as to how to do combat search and rescue in the Huey on Enigma's Cold War server. So the first thing you need to do, ideally before you take off while the engine is still getting started, is set up your beacon. So the Blue 4 radio beacons are set to 31.05, so we can change that here. The left-hand dial needs to be set to carrier. It should be by default, but just double check. And the right-hand dial needs to be turned all the way to the right to home. You can see that you've done that and this is receiving a signal if this little ADF dial here moves. Now, if this stays in its centered position, that's not necessarily that you've done anything wrong. There might just not be any beacons in range, in which case it will sit in that middle position. If it does move out of the middle position, you know that this is working and it is receiving a signal. Now we've got two beams here. The vertical marker shows you the left to right orientation of the beaker. So here we can see it's deflected fully to the left, meaning I need to turn to the left in order to get it centered. The horizontal beam here tells me the up and down orientation of this. Really, I don't use that beam too much. Mostly I just focus on the left to right one and then use my good old Mark 1 eyeballs to look out for the smoke that will pop as soon as I'm in range. So then once we take off, we just turn around, and there, as we get the needle centered, we know that we're heading directly towards our desired target. So then we just fly on this heading until we find something. So as you're flying, just always be scanning for smoke. Blue smoke is blue for, red smoke is red for pilots. As soon as any helicopter gets close enough, it will trigger the smoke, but it is time limited and each pilot gets a single use. As you can see there, blue smoke from a pilot. So now I have to come in and land near him. There we go, we've landed enough, picked up the pilot, and so good idea to immediately take off and get out of the area because everyone can see that blue smoke and that's a signal to absolutely everyone that there is a helicopter in the area. Then you just need to return to a friendly airbase. You can use the FARPs, you can use road bases, and you can use airfields. And then you just need to come in and do a gentle landing. There we go. Once you come in for landing, you get the message saying we rescued the airman. And that is Huey CSAR in a nutshell. And I'd just like to end the video with a couple of tips that I have for anyone starting out with CSAR operations, especially in the Huey. First thing is it's really worthwhile loading up on troops. You can do this at any friendly FARP or airfield with the F10 comm menu and selecting load troops. You can do that twice and still have 2 seats left on the Huey for picking up any downed pilots that you have. And then you can just land anywhere behind enemy lines to deploy them, and then they go and attack. I find this really useful, especially if you find that there aren't any downed pilots to rescue. You're going to be around the front lines anyway, so you may as well be helping your team. Each squad that you put down takes out 2 targets, so that's 4 targets per Huey load. That can really make a big bit of difference. The final tip I have is just to try to preserve yourself. And I'll admit this is something that I'm having to work on. But keep in mind that you're doing these missions to earn your team some points back from their losses, so it really doesn't pay for you to just add to those losses by getting shot down yourself. If you see a pilot that you're trying to rescue and you realize it's too dangerous to go in, particularly if they've crashed near an enemy airbase with still active anti-air emplacements. It's just not good going in there. You're likely not going to rescue them, you're just going to crash and cost your team points. So if it looks bad, pull out. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Remember to have fun. Cheers.